Blizzard teases WoW's next big thing, and we aren't ready for it. Oh my god, what is this? Okay, so Blizzard teasing. Look, a lot of things have been, being drip fed to us for the Midnight expansion. The Last Titan, we've got a couple rumors out there of what's going to happen in the Last Titan and everything else, but I'm really interested in what happens after the Last Titan, and maybe that's what this video is about. Blizzard, the next big thing. What's going to happen after this trilogy ends? What's going to happen to this game that's been around for 20 plus years now? How can they keep it fresh and interesting? Are we going to get a WoW 2? Are we going to go to the other side of Azeroth? Are we going to get some kind of crazy new feature like this? We'll see. Let's see what the comeback kids have to say about this crazy new big thing that's coming to WoW.
In World of Warcraft, endgame content is built on what I like to call the Great Pillars. You have raiding, Mythic Plus, PvP collecting, and more recently, delves. With the War Within...
Yeah, that's a good little summary there. I would say, yeah, if somebody asked me what makes up raid world content, World of Warcraft content right now, yeah, raids, Mythic Plus, PvP. PvP, maybe the PP is a little bit smaller here. And then collecting, sure, you got all your mounts and your transmog and everything else, and delves. Yeah, this is a good little summary here. This is your endgame of WoW.
Blizzard added this as a solo-friendly endgame pillar. But with Midnight, Blizzard is also preparing to introduce yet another one. A pillar that isn't directly tied to combat. It branches off from the collecting pillar, and it's something players in other MMOs have loved for years, which is housing. And here's where it actually gets interesting.
I mean, what I would say housing really is, and why players love housing, for one, it's a great place to have Moonguard orgies. But the real reason why people love housing is that it's like an achievement show-off. It's like a 3D achievement base. That's what it is. It's a place to show off your transmog. It's a place to show off all your achievements. You hang Onyxia's head on the wall. It's a place to basically add a way to make achieving things in the game that much more exciting, because you're getting stuff for doing it. And yeah, player housing is it's a nice thing for RPers. I joke about Moonguard, but yes, really RPers are going to love this stuff. But yeah, it does. It certainly, I would say, branches off of the collecting thing, and that's why people really enjoy it, is they run around and collect stuff for their houses.
Now, what if I told you that housing might just be the first step toward an endgame pillar that is so massive, it could dwarf everything else World of Warcraft has ever offered, with raiding, Mythic Plus, PvP, and delves. Before we dive into that, though, it's important to know that the pillars of endgame are what keep World of Warcraft alive once you hit max level. They're the systems that keep players logging in and day out. And over time, those pillars...
You want pet battles to be an end pillar? Yeah. I don't know about that.
Pillars have grown from just 2 in Classic, being raiding in PvP, to now 5 actively concurrent today.
Yeah,
so with all these pillars in mind, Blizzard has already started experimenting. They're testing, they're innovating with what could become another big pillar, and it's secretly hiding inside of the upcoming temporary game mode, Legion Remix.
Is he about to talk about world tiers? Literally the thing that I said would probably make it to the retail game eventually, just a couple minutes ago.
Now, Legion Remix is a fun way to experience
I did not plan
expansion while earning a ton of...
I did not pre-watch this. I did not know this was... That's where I think he's going right now, though.
Cosmetics, mounts, and a bunch of other rewards. But with this, Blizzard has introduced something very different.
You guys aren't going to believe me.
A toggleable heroic world tier.
Fuck, you guys are not going to believe me. Nobody's going to believe me that I didn't pre-watch this. I did not. All right, I'm telling you right now, I had no idea this video was about world tiers. I didn't. Yeah, we never do. Okay, fair. All right. Yeah, this is just like really good stream content. I'll be honest. The fact that I preluded this just a couple minutes ago, going on a rant about how world tiers are eventually going to be real retail game content, and now watching a video about it, I did not plan it. Sometimes I'm just such a good streamer. This shit plans itself. I don't know what to say.
For outdoor content. For the first time in World of Warcraft's history, players could opt into a harder version
but I agree with
the
this.
Open world, where the mobs hit much harder, they have affixes tied to them, the enemies will scale up, and it'll be a very difficult challenge. I've been testing this system extensively over the last week or so, and it's the closest I've ever felt with retail to that open world classic World of Warcraft tension and difficulty.
And that's exactly what I said about this. When I was looking into the world tier stuff just now, I told you guys this looks like a classic WoW way of pulling shit, right? Where every mob is capable of killing you. If you overpull, you're going to die. If you're not fed and man it up and everything, you know, you got to eat and drink between mob pulls, you're going to die. That is the classic WoW experience. If you ever played classic back when it was, you know, retail WoW, talking vanilla WoW back in the day, the world was extremely dangerous. Running around off the beaten path, right? If you left that pathway, you could die. Shit, sometimes even on the pathway, you could aggro shit, a gang of murlocs that'll just come and beat the shit out of you. So that, yeah, it made the world feel dangerous. It made the world feel real. And most of all, it made the world feel like it was ready for an adventure. That's how it made it. And like, if you could group up with people, that made it that much better, you know, because then you could go out on your fellowship journey together. If you went into a zone before you were the right level for it, that was always an experience too. That was cool and scary at the same time. That's what this world tier experience brings back to me, is it brings back that classic sense of danger that the world provided.
The feeling of danger was back. Pulling too many mobs could actually...
Riveting gameplay. Oops, I pulled 3 mobs. I'm dead. No, it wasn't. That's a fucking shit way of saying it. No, it's just it's a cool thing in that the world itself was dangerous. I mean, you watch the Lord of the Rings movies, the world itself was around any corner there could be some kind of danger lurking there that could be a formidable opponent to fight against, right? Whether it's a band of orcs or a giant troll or something like that. It creates the sense of adventure, that the world itself provides a sense of danger. You always got to be on, looking around, be on your toes. You can't just log out in the middle of a fucking forest. You're going to die. You got to make sure that you're always paying attention, head on a swivel, that kind of stuff.
Get you killed, and overcoming that challenge is something that felt rewarding. It was impactful in a way that the normal outdoor game simply has not felt in years. Now, this change matters because it introduces the idea of scalable outdoor endgame. It's very similar to how Diablo's world tiers work. The content itself does not change, but the difficulty and the payoff does. Imagine world bosses, world quest, rare mobs, and large-scale events all taking on new life because they're tied to a higher difficulty tier. For the first time, the open world itself could become a meaningful part of endgame progression.
Yeah, well, for the first time in a long time, it could. Yeah, certainly. Gotta wait for that motherfucker patting around to go away. Yeah, so you could pull something. Definitely. I mean, I remember specific zones where this shit was extremely dangerous. If you ran Scarlet Monastery, right? Or not Scarlet Monastery, I should say Dead Mines, right? Running Dead Mines. You remember the village that you had to go through to get to the Dead Mine dungeon? This was prior to summoning stones and all that shit. You literally had to foot it over there. You remember that village was dangerous. You catch one of those mages that could cast those fucking pyroblasts and one-shot your ass, you were dead. So, I mean, just getting to the dungeon itself was an adventure back then. It was a difficult thing to do. The gnolls back in Elwyn Forest, I mean, you enter those gnoll camps, you had to pull like one at a time, try to pull inch away. If you pulled one and it aggroed the rest, you were fucked. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that it created content within the world itself.
Not just a stepping stone on your way to dungeons, raids, or delves. I was actually dying quite often on this heroic world tier in Legion Remix, but if somehow, some way I was able to kill the amount of mobs that I was pulling, the reward would be worth it. I would be leveling very quickly, getting tons of resources to power up my character, earning other ways of that said power. The difficulty was there, but the reward was worth it. It made me feel like I was back on my human paladin in classic World of Warcraft, AoE farming murlocs out in Dustswallow Marsh to level up. It brought me back to the outside world and was rewarding enough to keep me there. Yeah. This can open the door to something even bigger as well, though.
It's a funny ass comment. How many Sunken Temple runs fell apart before the group even entered the instance, right? Because people were dying on their way there. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Same even with Scarlet Monastery. I mean, going into the monastery before you enter the dungeon, sometimes you would have to group up with your group outside of the monastery to enter together so you could actually get to the dungeon entrance. Those things were real. I think a lot of people who didn't play back then can't even comprehend how difficult the world was to get around back then. And this will kind of create that sense of difficulty. It's kind of exciting to see it.
With it bringing old zones back to life within World
bringing the old zones back to life.
Now let me explain. If Blizzard ties rewards to world tiers, then any zone from any expansion could technically remain relevant. Legion Remix already proves that they can breathe life into older content, but maybe a permanent world tier system can be the foundation that makes the entire game's back catalog matter again.
Yeah,
what if
could be.
every week a set expansion has its world difficulty scaled up to modern WoW? For example, it can be from...
Hold on, that's genius. I didn't even think about that. Because you guys remember, I was like, well, how do they do it? Where like everybody would be on different tiers and shit. I don't know if you would how you would shard people to different things if they're empowering a zone to be a heroic world tier. This is an interesting way to do it, though. You put it on a rotation, right? You've already got the section of your vault, your weekly vault that has to do with world content. So this could contribute to that, where every week or whatever, however often they rotate it, a certain zone or expansion becomes empowered. And then that's where you can go and grind shit out to actually contribute to your vault. This is a really cool concept that I would actually be interested in doing. Like, sometimes I don't feel like jumping into a raid. I don't feel like jumping into a Mythic Plus. Like, that's a bit too intense. Would I enjoy maybe going to a zone that's now empowered where the difficulty's there and that I got to pay attention a little bit, but I could still kind of mindlessly grind away and kill a bunch of mobs? Yeah, maybe I want to do that. That could be a fun side piece of content. That's another option, another way to fill out your vault.
Scale up to modern WoW. For example, it can be from Wrath of the Lich King. That would mean all of Northrend would scale up to heroic level difficulty when you activate it, allowing you to complete events, quests, and everything else in these nostalgic old zones that are...
Yeah, and then you get your taste of nostalgia, right? You're sitting in boring tundra, listening to that music, grizzly hills, questing around, and you're not just doing it for you're not just mindlessly there doing it for no reason. You're there because the entire zone is now empowered to this higher world tier, and you're actually getting content out of it. You're actually getting gear out of it. You're actually getting crests out of it. This would be really... I like this idea a lot. Shit, man, these guys cooked on this. I hadn't taken it to this level where I actually thought about, oh shit, you could actually make this contribute to your vault and stuff.
Full and epic to return to. Legion Remix even gave us a glimpse of how this system could work with its activity list. Every day you can push your progression by completing activities in your own way, with questing, running dungeons in that zone, farming materials, exploring, flying through orbs, and killing demons. All different paths, all leading to the same reward track. And it could just be another way Blizzard is pushing us to play how we want, and we'll still get rewarded fairly for it. Instead of world content being dead within the first couple weeks of a season, giving us just trivial rewards, it could be something that could be progressed through throughout the entirety of the season.
Could be eternal.
Not only in the current expansions world, but even diving us back into all of the old world content that we used to love. With this, they can also remaster leveling within retail as well. Imagine choosing to level on...
This is what I was talking about earlier. The world tier system reminded me of Diablo, right? Diablo has this shit, and that's why I was asking you guys, because I haven't played Diablo in so long. But I do remember that there's like world tier empowerment shit that makes the entire world more difficult, but then gives you more rewards for it. And you guys confirmed that that is, in fact, a Diablo feature. So they're just pulling this over from Diablo into WoW. Make it so it contributes to your vault and everything else, and boom, there you go. You got a whole new piece of content, whole new way to play the game.
For a relaxed experience, but you can also switch to heroic for faster experience, stronger rewards, but substantially more difficult encounters. A lot of players understand that retail World of Warcraft can feel a bit instanced. You have raiding, delves, Mythic Plus, PvP, all of it relatively being done inside of an instance, rather than outside.
You know what I'm thinking now that I would absolutely love? Because I've told you guys this many times. I love raiding out in the open world. I love creating like a 40-man army and just destroying shit out in the open world. That's why I told you guys, like, I'm going to raid Silvermoon. I know there's a zone for Alliance, but I'm about to make the entire city Alliance because I'm going to form up a 40-man raid and we're going to push into the Horde zones of Silvermoon. I love doing that kind of stuff. Imagine this world tier content could be something that is raidable. Like, you could have Northrend empowered and you form a 40-man expedition to go back to Northrend and delete the content up there. How cool would that be? Like, just literal raid content out in the open world? The possibilities are endless here. If they could scale it with group size and you could have maybe scaled rewards or something like that. I don't know how you would incentivize people to raid it. Maybe you don't want to incentivize, you just have it there as an option. But that would be fun as hell. I'd rather walk my fist, Jesus. Well, I got all excited, and you guys are going to shit on me. I think it'd be cool to arrive as a 40-man raid on your ship in boring tundra and then just start waxing the entire zone. And it's actually difficult to do. I think it'd be fun.
Actively in the world. I don't know about you all, but I would love to progress my character outside in these beautiful zones that they create, like Hollowfall or Azj-Kahet, experience them and increase my power firsthand in the world. It would make the world feel alive. It would get people out of instances. It would keep that feeling of old school MMORPG embedded in modern WoW. With upcoming expansions like Midnight having beautiful zones like Eversong Woods, this could be a perfect time for us to test and prepare a system like this. World tiers bring the danger and progression back to WoW zones.
Exactly.
But what if Blizzard went even further? What if they gave us not just the tools to fight in the world and make it harder, but the tools to shape it on our own? Heroic world tiers have the potential to stand alongside as a pillar with raiding, Mythic Plus, PvP, and delves. But with housing, it could spin off something so massive it overshadows every other system we've talked about. Now, before you freak out, let me explain. Coming with Midnight, Blizzard is finally introducing something players have been asking for, which is player housing. And after viewing the first hands-on experience at Gamescom, the first thing that stood out to everyone was just how smooth and intuitive it all feels. The UI is flexible, the placement tools are user-friendly and easy to use, the customization options are really robust, and this got me thinking.
Yeah, Blizzard cooked with player housing.
It proves that Blizzard can build an in-game editing toolset that feels natural and approachable, even to the players who have never touched an editor before.
Oh my God, we're about to go Roblox and WoW. He's talking about a world creator. He's talking about some sort of world creator where people can create zones on their own. Jesus Christ. My brain can't even comprehend that.
And it can open the door here to something
infinite
much bigger.
possibilities.
Now, I hope you're still listening, because if Blizzard can make housing this easy with this UI, why should we stop there? Imagine expanding these very same tools that they give us beyond decorating a house, beyond changing a bedroom. What if it was made to create actual content? They can start us off small with one-room custom scenarios, similar to like a Mage Tower style solo challenge.
Okay, that will never happen. What I'm thinking is, okay, you're saying that'll never happen here in chat. Maybe it wouldn't be part of the progression system for WoW, like you can't actually get gear or anything out of it. But maybe if they allowed people to create instances, it would just be like a fun piece of side content, right? Like, okay, somebody can create a custom run of Scarlet Monastery where they put mobs in certain places, new challenges, and it would become like a community thing. Like, oh, hey, have you tried the new Samiccus Scarlet Monastery dungeon? Oh, man, he created this crazy-ass room where you got to fight all these mobs and jump on these different platforms as the water level rises or so. Like, you know what I mean? It could create this whole world where people the players themselves create new fun content to do. Right? There's a lot of that already in existence in things like Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft, even, where people create custom game modes that don't actually contribute to your level in any way or contribute to your gear or anything else, or customizations for that matter. But it's just a fun piece of side content that people enjoy running, and the community kind of gathers around and says, oh, there's this new thing that this guy made and everyone should try to do it. It's like a challenge mode. That's it. That sounds like shit. Fuck you, Warmond. Spitting on my parade. How dare you? No, I think it kind of sounds cool. Maybe. I think it'd be a fun little piece of side content. No one would ever do them. Jesus. You guys are such happy people. You know that? You really are.
Maybe you have a boss spawn with specific mechanics and a custom room of your choice decorated and fleshed out all by the player. From there, you can scale it up. It could be a mini dungeon where you would set maybe 2 bosses or 3, some ads in between.
That's what he's talking about.
Mobs to kill. Expand the rooms a bit.
Yep, this is I figured it out. I knew it. This is where he was going with it. Yeah, create your own dungeon runs.
Maybe add a little bit of backstory. From there, you could scale it further. You could add mini quests.
Azrin's room full of cockroaches. Cockroach mobs. Yeah, the Asmon house run. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you guys are joking. Like, I think this would create like some cool community events. I really do. I think creating your own dungeon runs would create like, yeah, a lot of fun out of it. I don't know what you would incentivize. I don't think. See, the thing about MMOs is players who play MMOs need incentives to do things. They don't like doing things without incentives, whether that's player power progression, whether it's an item, a transmog, a mount. We all love the carrot on the end of the stick as MMO players. So you guys are saying, oh, this would be stupid because there wouldn't be any carrot involved. It would just be, a way to waste time. Maybe. I don't know how Blizzard would incentivize it. But I do think you'd get some really cool stuff out of it.
NPCs with dialogue options and branching choices changing depending on what you choose. Eventually, it doesn't have to be such a small instance. It can be something vastly
D&D did this, it didn't
bigger.
work.
It can get scaled into entire zones with full-on quest lines, campaigns, open world events. This thing may sound very far-fetched, but history proves something like this can be done. We all know back in the early 2000s, Neverwinter Nights launched with a toolset that gave the players the ability to build entire story modules with quests, dialogues, encounters, everything top to bottom created by the player. These community-made campaigns extended the game for years. Blizzard themselves have seen the power of user-generated content through the editors in Warcraft 3 and StarCraft. Gave rise to some of the most influential genres in gaming, creating Dota, which led to League of Legends, Elder Scrolls having their own creation
Dota's just a modded version of the game created by players, yeah.
kit, which kept the game alive for almost 15 plus years with these mods. These created quest, expansion, dungeons made from fans that, to be honest, often trivialize the official content released by.
History proves that games, that it doesn't work. All the games that had it are dead. Are you talking about MMO games? Maybe, because no, like Fortnite and all these other games have it, and it has literally created an infinite play loop. Like my son, he's 8 years old. He gets into Fortnite. Rarely does he ever go play Battle Royale. He's always jumping into these random parkour courses, all this random shit created by players themselves. He almost never actually plays the real game of Fortnite. He's just constantly jumping in and out of these different custom game modes created by the player base. So I don't know if it works the same in an MMO. I agree with you guys. It's a bit more challenging to put in an MMO and actually incentivize people to do it because, like I said, MMO players are very much driven by the carrot. They always need a carrot to do content, and this wouldn't have that. But it could just be a fun thing to see what the community can generate.
By the companies. Things like this transform these games from
it doesn't work at MMO,
titles into entire platforms with limitless potential. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that World of Warcraft should immediately start giving players the option to build these zones and campaigns, but what Blizzard could do is scale this up step by step. First, give us a small room with a scenario editor. You place a boss in an area, and you treat it almost like a single boss mage tower, and from that point, it's simply about slowly scaling it up. What was once a small boss room with a single mob turns into a multi-roomed, multi-boss dungeon with NPCs and ads you need to fight and interact with in between. From there, you can add campaign nodes like basic quest design tools to create NPCs, write out some custom dialogue. The possibilities can be quite literally...
My custom dialogue would be the return of Garrosh calling Sylvanas a bitch. That's the first thing I would do in the creator. Now, most likely Blizzard would limit the things that you can make an NPC say, but I'd put that out there right away. My dungeon would start, hello, welcome players, and then Garrosh just walks out, and Sylvanas walks out, and he goes, you bitch. Bam. Back in the game, officially canon again. Garrosh calls Sylvanas a bitch.
Endless for the World of Warcraft community. Guilds, roleplay servers, and creative storytellers can create something that we never thought could be made. This can turn World of Warcraft into a platform that isn't just about running some endgame content. It can modernize a brand new era for MMORPGs, and World of Warcraft can be yet again at the forefront. This pillar can be something that is so large when it comes to creativity and just having fun in the video game that I think it could honestly take over. It would essentially mean that we get a World of Warcraft workshop mode where players can take as long as they want to create custom dungeons, scenarios, and campaigns and then share them with the entire community to enjoy. It would give World of Warcraft literally infinite replayability to where the player base isn't dependent and waiting on the developers months and months on end for brand new seasons to come out. It would be fueled by constant creativity, where we'll always have something to enjoy and test out while the developers can take their time to make the content the best they know how. I think this is something that can strengthen the community and allow roleplay servers, of course, to create own campaigns and events. I mean, imagine what...
Yeah, the roleplay. I mean, Moonguard gonna create some crazy things out of this. You guys already knew where my mind was going with it. Yeah, the Scarlet Monastery sex dungeon. It'll happen. It'll happen, and people will play it.
Players can do with something like this built inside.
You instantly get transformed into a Volpera or a Worgen before you do your run, so it's furries only. Yeah.
Wow. With housing and
my
how
mind
it's
is
shaping
running.
up, I think it proves that Blizzard can ship very intuitive, very easy to learn in-game editors. History also proves that RPGs thrive when players are empowered and given these tools to create. If you combine something like this with World of Warcraft's existing live service model, where we're constantly getting updates from Blizzard, and you layer that with endless user-generated content from the community, World of Warcraft can stop being just a game tied to patch cycles. It can become an entire platform that can take over the world yet again. A living, breathing MMORPG that could quite literally last forever. I really love the direction, Blizzard has been taking with the endgame pillars. They've recognized that these pillars are where the majority of players are spending their time, and they've been expanding on them in ways that feel evergreen, adding systems like Mythic Plus, Delves, and other forms of progression. It has been a massive win for the game, but what excites me the most
I wonder if you took this a step further and you allowed players to create PvP matches, how that would go. Like, imagine if a player could create something like a Plunder Storm, right, where you create like a PvP, even if a player could create a, what's it called? Oh, God. A Fortnite-esque style endgame, where basically you've got a survivor pool. You got to kill everybody. Last guy alive is the winner. You could create PvP matches, create PvP maps, create PvP games with different rules. Yeah, it could be. It could be something you could do. I think custom PvP matches would be more acceptable by the community than custom dungeons. You could create like a zombie, like players versus zombies kind of custom game mode. All kinds of shit. There's some possibilities there too that he didn't really consider.
For the game. But what excites me the most is the idea of pushing us back out into the world. Heroic world tiers could make outdoor content really feel alive again, which is the general sense of capturing the essence of MMORPG spirit that, first defined.
They would be giving you access to their IP, and you could directly profit off of it. WoW Turtle is a good example of why they would never do this. Well, no, because Turtle WoW did it illegally. All these games that have this create your own things, there's all, like, you literally accept the terms before you do that. So like Fortnite has all these parkour runs and all this shit. Yeah, you got to accept the terms before you can custom create this shit. Even games like Roblox, where people can purchase shit in the games, like you can purchase things for all these different custom game modes. Roblox gets a cut of all those purchases. That's not done privately, like Turtle WoW is, where it's a completely run on its own private server where they're collecting money and all this shit on their own. That's not how it works. You would be accepting terms that would indicate that this IP still belongs to Blizzard, but they're allowing you to use it to create a custom game mode.
Find WoW in the first place. And while housing is already shaping up to be, of course, an
$15 to run a dungeon.
Yeah. I believe it could evolve into something far, far more limitless here. With how creative and passionate the WoW community is, giving players the right tools.
What's up, TV? Welcome in.
Infinite, not just for players, but for the future of the entire World of Warcraft IP. Listen, I know this may sound crazy, but there are some ideas here that can really come into the game quickly. I gotta know what you guys think about this in the comments section.
Yeah.
I would love if maybe Blizzard takes a look at this video and sees your comments directly and some of your ideas on what you all think about this. Between the heroic world tiers and making open world content alive again, and technically user-generated content with
some possibilities
housing
here.
being just a few months away, the content potential spinning that off into something bigger, it doesn't feel so far-fetched anymore. So if you guys can please leave your opinions in the comment section below. And if you're interested, be sure to check out our live shows where we go live every week on Wednesday and Saturday nights. I feel like it's a really hard to find people who are dedicated and really passionate about World of Warcraft again. So if you're looking for that, come on down to the live show where we are nothing but excited about World of Warcraft. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing or check out one of the videos you see on screen here.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of this shit here in a second.
My name's Sky for the Comeback Kids. It's an absolute pleasure to make content for you all. I'll see you in the next one.
Degenerate implies he plays the game. Yeah, no, I think it's a great video, and it's an interesting concept. I do think, though, he missed out on one thing, and that's the PvP stuff. I think if somebody created like a custom Battle Royale style Plunderstorm version of PvP, that's something that people would play and not necessarily care about player progression. Like, it would just be a fun thing to pass the time. Like, oh, I feel like playing the Battle Royale that this guy made from WoW. And he puts certain abilities in there, and you could do whatever. I think custom PvP matches could be a cool one. And then if Blizzard really likes a custom PvP match that somebody made, they can implement it into the game. That to me actually holds more water than the custom dungeon thing, no doubt. Yeah, just give me Plunderstorm. I miss Plunderstorm. I do. I find Plunderstorm to be quite enjoyable, even though I'm not a PvPer at all. Yeah, good stuff. Fun concept here, and yeah, could be the future of WoW. He kind of introduced two concepts here: the custom dungeon shit, and also the world tier system, which I think is much more likely to make it into the game because that's a direct tie-in to your vault and everything else, and another way to gear out in the game for sure. Nice video from the Comeback Kids.